Hi, welcome to my channel. I am Rosalind Jukic and I am a second generation homeschool mom living in Croatia. I invite you to join me today. Be sure to like this video and be sure to follow my channel. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am so glad you're here. If you've never been here before, welcome. I am Rosalind Jukic and here we talk about all things family and homeschool and sometimes throw other things into the mix just to make it fun. And today I'm wanting to talk to you about why I don't do morning basket. I'm one of the probably, odd families that doesn't do morning basket. When we first started homeschooling, I had no idea what morning basket was. I'd never even heard of it. And so as I began to connect more with the homeschooling community here on YouTube and also on Facebook, I began hearing about this thing called morning basket. And I was like, gee, I wonder what that is. Something fun that we've never heard of before to explore. And so I began doing my research. What is morning basket? And it looked like so much fun. And it actually looked like an answer to some of the frustration that I was having. When we very first began homeschooling, I was given a huge amount of materials. And a lot of them I wanted to use, but I couldn't seem to find a place to put them. Or, I would say, I'm going to use it with this subject, like, with writing or handwriting or, with English and different things like that and, history or whatever. And I would forget that they were there. And so I was frustrated by letting all of these great materials sort of go to waste. I'd get to the end of a school year and I'd go, man, I really could have used that. I wish I would have had that. And so morning basket really looked like a great way to sort of put that into a morning rotation so those things were not getting lost or forgotten about. And so I was super excited to begin using them. We started doing morning basket and immediately I realized a couple of things. First of all, it was making our school day a lot longer because we would get into a morning basket thing and it would sort of drag out and drag out. And sometimes it would drag out because my kids were having a lot of fun with that one thing. Or sometimes it would drag out because they really weren't. And I was one of those people that, when I'm all in with both feet. And so it was like, we started this thing, we're going to finish this thing. And so that was the first thing that I realized was my kids were getting frustrated because school was going longer and longer and they were missing that free time that they used to have in the afternoons because we got derailed in our morning basket. But secondly, I realized that they weren't really connecting overall with most of the things that we were doing in our morning basket. Now, some things they loved, like the read alouds. My kids love read alouds for the most part. And they loved when we did a game. But I could do those two things in a different way at a different time of the day so that we weren't getting derailed. And so I realized that, overall the concept of morning basket really wasn't for us. And it fit into something that I was considering at the beginning of the year when we were actually still in our Christmas break. And I realized that my children weren't really satisfied with our homeschool. And so I began questioning, why are we doing what we're doing? I realized that some of the curriculum that I had been using with my kids, they weren't connecting with, but we were continuing to use it because it was gifted to us and I never let anything go to waste because that's just, that's just the type of person I am. But second of all, a lot of these materials were curriculum that came so highly recommended by a lot of people in the homeschool community. It was sort of like, the real homeschoolers use this curriculum and I had that and I wanted to be a real homeschooler. So that was the reason why we just continued. I was pressing on with this curriculum, even though clearly my kids were not connecting with it. So I began thinking after the first of the year, is this a good reason to continue doing what we're doing? No, it's not. If your kids aren't connecting with it, if they don't like it, if they're not getting joy out of it, if they're not benefiting from it, then there's really no other reason to continue with that. Me feeling like a real homeschooler, if that's my if that's my why, then I'm continuing with a curriculum or something that we're doing in our homeschool that my kids aren't benefiting from. Oh, that's selfish. I'm a real homeschooler if I'm homeschooling. So I just put it aside. We shelved those materials and then tried out the easy peasy all-in-one homeschooling, as I've talked about in some previous videos, and my kids are connecting with that. Now, I've checked in with them several times since we switched over, and I continue to get the same feedback from them of they love it, they're having so much fun with it, they're clearly getting so much out of it because they're learning more faster than they had been before. And so it's something that they've really connected with. So it's a win-win. And I realized that it was the same way with a morning basket. My kids weren't benefiting from it. They weren't enjoying it. So we shelved that idea. A lot of those materials were, I realized, were redundant because either those things were covered in other, curriculum that we were using, or, they just, they were great for other people, but they just weren't great for us. One of the things that I had included in our morning basket was poetry. And so we were rotating it around because I felt bad that my children hadn't really been exposed to poetry like, maybe other people thought that they should. To be honest, I hate poetry. I don't connect with poetry. When I listen to people doing poetry readings, I feel nothing. I'm not one of those people that gets emotional over a poem. I don't like poems. 9 times out of 10, I don't understand what the poem is trying to say anyway. I don't do abstract. And to me, poetry tends to be too abstract for me. Give me a book, just tell it to me in plain language, and I will probably really enjoy that. I mean, I can read a book in record time. You give me a poem and I get stumped halfway through and I end the poem and I have no idea what it was saying. So I realized that, poetry is not for everyone. My kids know what a poem is. They know how to rhyme. They can make rhymes. They do silly rhymes themselves when they're playing. That covers the poetry for me. If at any time later on in their education they really get into poetry, I'll give them all the tools. But for now, it's just not for us. And so the games, we do family games together in the evenings a lot of times. The read alouds we do with different subjects, or, we usually do a read aloud at bedtime. So that was covered. We were actually, I took the morning basket apart. I took the parts that my kids loved and found a different way to do them and just shelved the other things that they weren't really connecting with. Now, so before we end this video, I want to say this. Just because your kids aren't connecting with it now doesn't mean they won't connect with it later. So I didn't take all of those things and chuck them because they may actually have benefit later on. What they're connecting with right now does not necessarily mean they'll connect with later on. My kids are super connected with easy peasy all-in-one homeschooling right now. Selfishly, I hope that they continue to connect with that because I really enjoy it as well. I love it. But there's no guarantee that my kids, a year, 2, 3, 5 years down the road are going to say, you know what, I'm not really enjoying this anymore. I'm not really connecting with this anymore. It's not benefiting me anymore. And we may need to go hunt for something else. That may happen. It may not happen. Follow that, what your children are saying to you. Follow that feedback that you're getting from them because that is going to be so important for them and their education. Connecting with what is, giving them benefit. So just because they weren't connecting with that curriculum and the concept of morning basket now doesn't mean that won't become beneficial later on. It could be that what we're doing right now is laying a foundation for them to really gain something from that other curriculum later on, or maybe it just isn't for them, and so maybe at some later date when we realize this is really never going to be useful for us, we can gift it to someone for whom it will be useful. So I hope that this has given you something to think about. I hope it's, given you some food for thought. Ask yourself today, is there something that my children really are not enjoying or benefiting from in our homeschool? And if so, why are we continuing to do that? What is the reason behind it? It could be that maybe it's something they just really need. Maybe it is genuinely a life skill that they're going to need and they're not having fun with it right now, but we just need to plow through it because you really need that. There is that. But perhaps you can implement that thing, that subject or that skill in a way that they will better connect with it. And so going through this thought process, asking yourself these really important questions is, I believe, vital in our homeschool. I genuinely believe that if our children are not gaining something from what we're doing, we're wasting our time. And we don't want to waste our time. Goodness knows, I don't have time to waste. I don't imagine that you do either. So we don't want to waste our time. We don't want to waste our children's time. We don't want to make school a drudgery, because if we do, then the idea that we're wanting to impart to them that learning is for a lifetime. Learning doesn't just happen through grades 1 to 12, but that is something that we do for a lifetime because it is so valuable to us, learning for the rest of our life. We want to really impart that to them. We want to give them that love for learning, that learning that they thrive on. And so school is a drudgery, then that's not going to happen for them. So asking these important questions, I believe, is so vital to us, vital to our homeschools, vital to our children, to their future, to laying down life patterns of learning for a lifetime. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.